Hi-ho, good-hearted one. This is The Flower of Freedom by Deborah Reeves, and we're on chapter 34, Christmas Eve. As always, all rights to the book and my presentation are reserved. Now take your seat, leave your packages outside the door, your bundles and your worries. You will pick them up as you leave if you want. Now we go moving on to chapter 34, Christmas Eve. Now I will tell you why we have such a ridiculously shaped tree, Oscar told them. When the two of you were about 6, we went to a tree cutting place at the beginning of December, and we tromped through the knee-deep snow for more than an hour. It was cold, Colette interjected, especially after you peed into my boot, Marie. Marie had expected to hear that again, and she groaned, and Bertie pointed his finger at her. We looked at every tree in the lot, and you two thought you were the 3 bears or something, and every tree was too tall, or too skinny, or too warty, whatever that meant, until Bertie saw one next to the fence. This one, he proclaimed. This one, said Marie. We looked at each other, and we looked at it. It looked like a pot-bellied stove, only 4 times as wide as it should have been. I had no idea if we could tie it to the top of the car, but you two were absolutely adamant that that was your tree. I didn't think we would get it up the stairs. When we did, it filled the entire bay window and stuck halfway into the living room. But it filled the house with that piney Christmas smell, and you two had so much fun decorating it. We had some real decorations by then, Colette told them. But we still have the hat, said Bertie. We'll always have the hat. They looked at the tree then. This one is not quite as fat, but it honors the spirit of that tree. Every year people visit and marvel at how fat our tree is. And I tell them that while our bank account might not be fat, we're packing it on in all the right places, Oscar laughed again. There was a lot of laughter that night. They were acutely aware of time that Christmas season. Marie had 10 days in total. She had to fly back to Paris on the 29th. They made the best of it. At times, Mama would go out shopping, alone or with Papa, and at those times, Bertie and Marie would see their friends. Everyone was happy to see Marie again, and they met at the same old diner, and they saw the movies at the same old cinema. Every moment that Marie was home, she spent with someone she cared about. She spent the time wisely. She had sent all of her gifts ahead to them weeks ago, so she did not have to go shopping. Bertie hated shopping anyway, so no time at all was lost in those frivolities. Soon it was Christmas Eve. As they walked together through the crunching snow to midnight mass, Marie was grateful that Mama had saved her old winter coat. At least it could handle the weather. She felt the mittens on her hands, and she waggled her fingers inside, thinking that mittens were a very perfect invention. She chuckled to herself when she imagined what Paulette might say about how she was dressed. She thought, yes, Paulette, I'm back in the backwoods of Canada where I belong. Bertie wanted to know what she was smiling about, and she responded, haute couturier. And he just looked puzzled for a moment and then let it pass. As they approached the church, they stopped to observe the plaster nativity set on the short front lawn. They still haven't gotten that baby a blanket, moaned Bertie as he did every year. The cathedral smelled of frankincense. They genuflected as they entered a pew. Organ music played familiar hymns. They listened to the homily at midnight mass, and they felt anew the wonder of familial love. Each of them sent prayers of gratitude skyward. Oscar was always particularly touched by Christmas. He thought again of what his life might have been like if he had not been waiting for Des in that field that night so many years ago. He thought of Des, and he thanked him too. He remembered those fragile, abused girls who had come into his life. What had he given them compared to what they had given him? He asked himself for the millionth time. Left to his own whims and devices, he would have ended up no place good, he was sure. Instead, he knew love, and he was living a life that he did not truly deserve. The others felt very differently. Inwardly, they thanked God for their papa and husband. Where would we be without him and his great courage? Thank you, thank you. We will always strive to deserve your blessings. Colette said. Marie thought, I suddenly know what grace really is. It's the unmerited favor of God, and my life has been swimming in it since I was born. Tears of joy ran down her face, and Bertie handed her a tissue. They went back to the apartment for Christmas Eve feast. Traditional. Tradition was everything that year. They ate and they ate and they laughed and they laughed. Marie and Bertie had second helpings of traditional French-Canadian sugar pie with mountains of whipped cream on top. They opened their gifts. I got your package a week ago in Paris, Marie protested. They're all under the tree there. What's all this? Papa said, do you think our girl would go wanting at Christmas? Think again. Mama gasped at the dress that Marie had given her. It's my turn to get you a Christmas dress. After all, you got me one every year of my life, Marie smiled. Papa was astounded by the perfect replica of a plane, the one he had flown the girls out of France on that night so long ago. He murmured, how thoughtful, my darling girl. And Marie could see that he was touched. That's the end of this chapter, chapter 34, A Flower of Freedom. The next chapter is chapter 35, Christmas Surprises.